everybody, welcome to Poly Games. I'm your host Joseph, and today we're going to talk about the PlayStation 4's lack of backwards compatibility, how it is unable to be backwards compatible with the PlayStation 3, and how Sony thinks it's not that much of a big deal. Is it a big deal to have backwards compatibility? That's the real question. So the Xbox One, that's one of its main features. Phil Spencer will go on stage and he will say how backwards compatibility is a huge feature on the Xbox One and one of its most important. While Jim Ryan over at PlayStation will try to tell you that it really isn't, that, it's a feature that a lot of people want, but once it's there, not a lot of people actually go and use it, that it's actually a underutilized feature that they've tried to dabble with, but again, saw no real success with, that the PlayStation 3 is a complicated system. That cell processor really is the Achilles heel of that console, and porting over games to the PlayStation 4 would take a lot of man hours, enough so that it wouldn't be worth Sony to actually go out and try to actually program these games to run on the PlayStation 4. Here's the deal. I understand the reason as to why the PlayStation 3 it's just too much of a hassle. I definitely understand that. But my question for Jim is, why not the PlayStation 2? That's what a lot of people have said, is why not the PlayStation 2? We see a lot of PlayStation 2 classics on the PlayStation Store, but we don't see the fact that we can go out and purchase, the original Ratchet and Clank and play it on our PlayStation 4. It just doesn't simply work like that. And the reason as to why is kind of simple. Sony wants to make money on backwards compatibility. They want to make money on those classics. They want to tell you that they've, buffed it up to 1080p, 60 FPS, and then, take your $10, $15 on a game that is about 10 to 15 years old at this point. And it sucks. It really does. That is the truth in all of this. That yes, it is a hassle, and if we're going to build an emulator, especially like into the software, into the hardware of the PlayStation 4, you bet your ass we're going to charge you on it. If it's a service we are able to provide, then it's a service that we have the right to charge you. And PlayStation does. They have every single right to charge you on those PlayStation 2 classics. But at the end of the day, it does kind of suck that we won't be able to play those games without paying a fee. And that goes to the question as to, it's not a big deal. To me, it is, but it isn't. Giving the customer more freedom as to doing what they want is always the best thing. It's always the great thing and the right thing to do in any situation. Giving customers choice is the best, no doubt about it. Now, with that said, though, backwards compatibility, as a owner of an Xbox One, I'll tell you this, I don't use it at all. The only game I've used backwards compatibility on is technically Phantom Dust. And there is reasons as to why I don't play Phantom Dust. And yeah, okay, fine. Maybe I'm being a graphics whore and it does not look very pretty, but also doesn't play very good. It seems like those PlayStation 2, Xbox original days, those were still early days of 3D gaming. And for me, going back to those games are insanely challenging. Not because it doesn't look pretty, but more of the fact that they haven't gotten the technical aspects, the controls down of 3D platforming, of 3D shooting or first-person shooting. They still haven't gotten those things down at that time, so it makes it incredibly hard to go back and play those games. It's kind of like going back and playing GoldenEye. You loved it as a kid, you find that it's a fucking unplayable wreck now. So again, it is all part of Sony's, initiative. Make money where you can make money. And at the same time, for me, they do have a bit of a point. It's hard to go back. If I'm not going back to a 16-bit or 32-bit era, to me, it is hard to go back to those retro-styled games. Again, I'll say that again so I don't sound like an idiot. If it's not the SNES or Sega Genesis, it's hard for me to go and play retro games if it's not a 2D platformer, because again, the controls are just not there for me. So yes, Jim Ryan is telling you a half-truth. It is an underutilized feature, I would think, coming from my experience. But at the same exact time, he's not telling you the whole truth. That, yeah, we're able to emulate PlayStation 2 games rather well, and we're able to charge you. But you can't get too mad because that's their right to charge you. I know, it's a double-edged sword, or kind of like triple-edged sword, the way you look at it. So guys, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Does backwards compatibility matter? Do you play your old 360 games? Do you play your old PS2 games? Let me know in the comment section down below if it's a big deal for you. I want to know, and let's start a conversation on it, shall we? I know if I had the choice to go back to PlayStation 3 with my PlayStation 4, I would in a total heartbeat. But how would Sony make money on the remaster of The Last of Us, the remastered, Nathan Drake collection, and the God of War series, right? God of War 3 remaster. How would Sony make money? Don't know. I'm being overcritical. I'm making a joke, Sony fans. I'm making a joke. With all that said and all that out of the way, everybody, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, please hit like, share, subscribe. Helps me out. Shows me that you care. And if you guys could, maybe have a nice day. Keep your wits about you. How about that? All right, guys. Have a nice one.